All right, y'all. First and foremost, give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son, the Hamashiach, who some call Yahushua, Yeshua, Yehoshua, Yashayah. We mostly know as Jesus Christ. We got our brother Hebrew Elevation, and our brothers, the Battle Axis, had a dialogue on who is Esau. You know, recently I gave a little briefing, just putting breadcrumbs out there. Just trying to throw some breadcrumbs out there. Recently on who is Esau. My brother Hebrew Elevation, he is an Israelite. I don't know his history with One West Israelism, but it seems he came from that branch to an extent, and have became a thinker and is navigating the text. I don't know how long he's been doing this, but he's been navigating the text on his own. There's some point that happened where he seen something and it said, hey, you know what, I need to navigate this on the reason I know that's the case, because it's the case that happened with me. And I pray this the case that happens for my brothers battle axes, where they have this dialogue and they go back and review this. Go back and review the dialogue, and just don't review it, take it to everybody. Take it to all your brothers that in the faith, in the same walk, with the same understanding, and say, well, what about this? How are we getting around this? How are we navigating through this? Because there were a lot of things that were said. I'm gonna tell you this, Captain, you said everything right. According to One West Israelism, you said everything correct. You were firing on all cylinders. You said everything properly. The way you were taught, the way we teach it, you said it. You said every single point. You addressed it the way it's supposed to be addressed. But that brother Yehudah, already knew, because he said the same points, but he's already defended them within himself. He's already defended them. He knows every point that you're going to bring up. He knows your arguments, and he has an answer for every single point. Now, your job is to show him that his answer is not correct. And if you move on from that and go to something else, that's a sign of, you can't really answer him. He answered you back. And if you go to something else, you kind of concede the point. Like you kind of give up the point. And then, I seen, all three of y'all jumped on there. And we just got to stop talking. And a lot of times this stuff, and this the thing, man. Most of Israelites, we suffer from the Dunning-Kruger effect. All right, a lot of us are coming into this thing. We didn't know. We didn't deal with the text at all. Me personally, I wasn't in that text at all. And I didn't get into I thought I was in the text, but I really wasn't in the text. I was learning a script. A lot of us have learned and are regurgitating a script. And the script has worked for over 50 years. The script has worked. But we in a different age. We in a different age. We're in a different dispensation. It's a lot of information at brothers and sisters' fingertips. And when we run into issues, we run into situations where brothers have certain answers and stuff, we gotta go back and look at this. And I pray y'all brothers go back and look at that video and go to these brothers. Go to sons. Go to brother Yoel. Go to Go to brother, go to chief priest. Call deacon. I mean priest Hakah. Call priest Zabak. And this is why too I think a lot of these elders who've taught us, and they've just been regurgitating. You're gonna find out that they have just been learning from a script. They really can't, and they can't come off of the script. Even though they know they're getting trapped up, they can't come off of the script. Let me go ahead and let this video play. And like I said, I got great respect for both of these individuals, all of these individuals, So it's not me, I'm not picking sides or trying to make somebody look bad. This ain't what this is. This is just us just having to be realistic, man, and having to, and just deal with what the information. And I say a lot of times, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. But anybody can speculate and put something together. There are whole texts. There are whole pseudepigrapha texts that Israelites are holding on to that are just speculation and fluff that somebody put together and put a biblical name on it and filled in these gaps. And people take it as scripture. And, in some instances, I feel I can do it. Some instances, I feel like, well, yeah, I could have did that. I could write that. I can write that narrative and fill that little gap in, man. We don't know what happened. We could fill that gap in. Because there are a lot of gaps. There are a lot of gaps in the timeline. There are a lot of spaces. There are a lot of places of unknown. Let me go ahead and let this video play. I keep on going, y'all.
White man.
The video ain't number 4 minutes, though, so y'all bear with us.
Yes, he was the first white man on the earth. Yes.
Okay, so check this out.
He said Esau was the first white man on the earth. He waiting on you to say something like that. He waiting on you. Because he was probably taught it and probably was saying it, and then, one day he's like, wait a minute, man. And he was trying to navigate it, and like, wait a minute, man. Hold on.
White man.
Yes, what you're saying. Was the first white man on the earth. Yes.
Okay, so check this out, right? So let me just cook for a second, bro. I'm going to read this verse. Check it. Genesis chapter 36. It says, these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan.
That's
so,
right.
brother, who is the father of Canaan?
Yeah, we know that they're the Africans.
So Canaan was a Hamite, right? His dad was Ham, right?
Yes.
So all of Esau's wives were black Hamites, right? Apart from, it says in verse 3, and Basma, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebajoth. So he married one Ishmaelite, and then he married some, it says here in verse 2, Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Ada, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, Aholibah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite. So he's got one Ishmaelite, and he's got 5 Hamite wives. So, Brother Benaiah, what color are all of the wives of Esau?
So we know that they're dark-skinned people, but hold up. Remember, you are what your father is. Let me read this right quick. This is the book of 2 Kings. So you saying that...
And so, the brother Yehudah, it's when you say that Esau was the only white man, but he married and had kids with nothing but black women, how does that lineage continue to be white? That white should be blotted out if that's the case. And let me say this. There ain't a lot of logic you can put to it. No matter how far back you go, it's going to get a little... When you try to get logical with this, it's going to get a little cloudy. You can go here Again, you already in a problem here. But even if you go back to Ham, Shem, and Japhet, and you saying, well, Japhet is the white people, and then you're saying that, you know, white people got off the thing, and then a black person, and then a brown, you know, got three different complexions got off of there, and it came from Noah. And then there's a narrative of Noah being a albino, and then, you know, and well, he got the three different colors can come out of the black man, and da 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 da. And you just trying to make this thing make, you're trying to make this thing make sense. You're trying to make sense of it, and it's hard to do. It's hard to make sense. It's hard to make sense of it. For me, it's just for me. I'm looking at it like, okay, well, Japhite was given this land. These are the people. These are the Japhites. The people in this land. The Ishmaelites are in this land. The Shemites are in this land. And that's how I'm navigating it. All right. Who are these people? Who have these people been in this land the entire time? And who has these people been in this land? And who has these people been in that land? That's the safest route for me, in my opinion.
The Most High God can't have leprosy cleave to you forever. Let's read.
Can you show me where in this scripture does it say that Esau had leprosy cling to him?
No.
Where does it say that about Esau, though?
No.
All right, so you know, Captain Benaiah is saying, well, you are what your father are, and he wants to bring in the example of leprosy being added to Esau. Let me go back. Because he knows that, or he concedes that Esau cannot carry on a white lineage with all black women. All right, he's conceding with that when he's moving to show that Esau somehow can have leprosy added to him.
Remember, you are what your father is. Let me read this right quick. This is the book of 2 Kings. So you saying that the Most High God can't have leprosy cleave to you forever? Let's read.
Can you show me where in this scripture does it say that Esau had leprosy cling to him?
No.
Where does it say that about
Yehudah knows that. Because that's the script. We all taught the script. When you're talking with another Israelite who's been out there teaching, and he's doing like you talk, you know, these two teachers, these two, you know, leaders within Israel, going at, and when you're leader to leader, you know, this ain't a camp dialogue. I understand it. You can't have on. You can't. This ain't a camp dialogue here. This is another, like, I already know. You can't be, if you're on the script, then you already know. I just rather move the conversation forward, because we all should know the script. And I'm gonna show you the script because I just did a video on this exact breakdown to show us that's where we got it, and we're just regurgitating it. We're just saying the script. We didn't get this information from the text. And so now Yehudah is asking you, well, show me where Esau got leprosy. And my captain knows that it's not in there. That he's finna pull a point that's not there. That he's getting a verse that's not saying that Esau has leprosy. You know. And so he's using this verse to say, well, I'm making a point that leprosy can be put on somebody, but what's the point of doing that if you're not going to show that happened to Esau?
Esau, though.
No,
you need to prove it for Esau.
Let me make my point. This is the book of 2 Kings.
Yeah, you got it, King. You got it.
Verse 27. And it reads, the leprosy, therefore, of Naaman clave unto thee and unto thy seed forever. And he went from his presence as a leper, white as snow. So the Most High God
is not talking about Esau.
Cleave to you and your seeds forever. That's the point.
Is that talking about Esau, King? Is that talking about Esau?
Who was Naaman?
Naaman, yeah, was a Syrian. He was a Syrian, not a Edomite. Do you agree?
Maybe as citizenship, but I'm gonna tell you, it's some more things. The point that I'm making.
And Naaman was a Syrian. according to the text. And it's not even talking about name. It's talking about Gehazi, Elijah's servant. And he's giving Gehazi, Elijah's servant. Elijah's giving this leprosy to his servant that he took off of Naaman. And let me show you this video here, because like I said, we had just went over this, which is crazy. We had just went over this here, right here, y'all, very quick. And you do what you want to do with the information. This is we'll first glean from Marks of a Lost Race by Abba Bibbins. This is Abba Bibbins. This is get this book. Get this book, and you're going to realize that we were taught a script. That the people that we were watching on YouTube, these elders, they just regurgitating this. I don't think they're able to navigate. A lot of them not able to navigate without this. The text, they're not able to navigate the text on their own without this. All of the answers are here. This is about 90% of One West Israelism in here. It's a few new things that's brothers been teaching and navigating through. And I think really like Sakari and Genesis is probably the main ones that I've seen been navigating through other things. I've seen Brother Sons of Thunder, Brother Yoel and them kind of navigate through certain things. But most kind of stick to this script. Get that book, read through there. And you're gonna be like, man, you're word for word, and we finna see it here. This is the forefather of One West Israelism. This is the Martin Luther of One West. The founder. All right. You got to know that he broke off. He broke off from a group of Israelites. And we're gonna go to page 35, and we're gonna get the breakdown. We're gonna get the breakdown here. On page 35 here. It says, and Isaac begot Jacob and Esau, beginning of the so-called white man. This is the first time in the scriptures where color is mentioned, and that is when it was speaking of Esau. We know that this to be true by referring to Genesis 25:25, and the first came out red, not white, and all over like a hairy garment, and they call his name Esau. And if we would stop and consider the so-called white man, he is red and hairy. He is covered with hair from head, arms, back, including buttocks, legs, feet, just like a garment. For more proof that Esau is our white brother today, we know by reading the history of the Caucasian race. They were a people who lived in the caves and the cliffs and the rocks, commonly called cave dwellers. We also know this to be true from our history, the Bible. We ask you to read Genesis 36:1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Now read Obadiah 1:1 and 3, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord of God concerning Edom, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the cliffs of the rocks, whose habitation is high. Some will say that some of the Caucasian people are, some of the Caucasian people are red, but are not red, but pale. This is very true. This came about through Gehazi, the Amalekite, the servant of Elisha. Can somebody give me a verse? Can somebody give me some information concerning is Gehazi a Amalekite? Okay, but this came about. This is how Esau got. And see, I'm saying that, because I know it's not in there. You don't think I looked already? Ain't in there. He made that up. He had to make it up. I get, I don't see anything on that. And this is why I put it out there too, like, because I couldn't find nothing.
Pale, all right, the servant of Elisha. And because he lied to the man of God, the leprosy of Naaman fell on him and his seed forever. We know this to be true, referring you to 2 Kings 5:27. The leprosy, therefore, of Naaman shall cleave unto thee and unto thy seed forever. And he went out from his presence a leper as white as snow. These lepers, who were Amalekites, were really descendants of Esau. Genesis 36:12. And they married into Esau the red man, thus bringing forth what we call pale face. It is just like taking white paint and mixing it with red paint. You will get a pale color. Okay.
We kind of switched the script a little bit with it. That's what we call them rednecks. And but I only doing that to show you that you just regurgitated. This is just what we were taught. We're just regurgitating a script. And where did our brother get that from? We don't have the work. We're just regurgitating, but we just saying, 10 plus 10 is 25, but we don't know how to explain how we got 25 out of 10 plus 10. Because we're just regurgitating what we don't know how to do the math. We don't know the formula. We didn't know how we came up with that answer. And so that's one of the issues that were ran about there. That has come on the brothers. Hold on, let me go back. Let me get us back together. Hold on, video capture. I had the video capture off. And let me go ahead and play the video a little more. But he just gave us that breakdown. He seen he had an issue, and then he went, well, how do I make Esau white? Because I can't make him white with these black. He marrying these black women, so how do we make him? Well, he became a leper, and he became a leper, through that 2 Kings verse, and Og knew you were going there, and he know it don't fly. He know it's nothing you can connect Esau with. And even here, the brother wrote the book, put that they were the Amalekites. There's nothing in the book showing how he established that Gehazi was an Amalekite. He just said it. And we just regurgitated it and taught it like it's absolute truth.
Into that. No, let's get into that. Let's prove it. Because already.
No. Hold on.
Check it out. Already you caught yourself. But now you hold up, bro. Let me say this.
No.
Let me say this.
And he hungry. He know he got you. He feel like, yeah. Boy, you done made a bad mistake. Woo! Let me say this. Let me say it. And I like, man, that ain't the point I wanted to make. And because he didn't really prove. But on the streets, it's gonna work. On a Christian, it's gonna work. But when you dealing with an Israelite who have regurgitated the same thing for many years and then seen that, wait a minute, I can't prove this. The script does not work. You have to, when you're dealing with an Israelite like this brother, you have to go in there knowing that he knows the script. And when I come with something that's off the script, I'm going to tell him, I'm like, listen, this going to be, you probably ain't heard this before. This is something that, I speculated on, and I did my little methodology and applied it to it, and I see it this way. You probably ain't heard it like this, especially from no Israelite. But if I know the script, man, I ain't even, I'll just say it. He got leprosy from, Esau got the leprosy from Elijah. And then, there's a narrative with, Cain and Cain receiving that mark and him becoming, and his seed line becoming the white man. And that was dealt with a long time ago, that, you know, many years ago. That was being debated heavily. That mark that he received was him becoming white. Then you got the Muslims, the Nation of Islam, and the Nuwabians talking about the what was that man name? Some big head scientist, man. I want to say Yaakov or something like that. But some scientist created the white man. Anyway.
Just real quick, brother. I'll be real quick.
Hold up, because
if y'all know that, my conscious community, those who have navigated this conscious community, if y'all know the scientists that the 5%ers or the Nuwabians and some of the NOI, what is the name of that scientist they say created the white man? Put it in the comments. Let me see what my scholars at.
I was going into 1st, 2nd Kings. The point that I'm making.
No. Before you go into that, bro, Naaman, right?
Make leprosy cleave unto you.
So check it out, brother. So brother, are you saying that Naaman was an Edomite, though? Is that what you're saying? Naaman was an Edomite?
No, I'm not saying that. My point that I'm making is that he can make leprosy cleave unto you. But I want to keep going through the characteristics that I
wait, so brother, you didn't prove anything there. You went to a completely irrelevant verse.
No.
Talking about Esau.
Show you that leprosy.
Brother, Esau married black women, brother. I was trying to make my point, and now you're taking it somewhere else, King. I just showed you.
No. We have been going off the point, but the whole point that I started with was to show you characteristics that lines up with Esau.
So how about this, King? We'll go back to the characteristics. We'll do what you wanted to do, the characteristics. But then can we go back into the wives after that, brother?
No. I agree with you that they were Hamite wives, but the point that I'm making, he can still make that leprosy cleave to him and to his lineage. But I want to go here.
But you'd be adding to the word by saying that, because there's no verse that says the Most High made leprosy cleave to Esau. So you'd be adding leprosy to Esau. There's not a single verse.
Showing you the capability.
So we can go over to the characteristics, but
let's
then
go
you have to prove.
I want to give you. Hold up.
If you're saying that Esau had leprosy cleave to him, you have to prove that act. You have to show me the verse that says leprosy cleave to Esau. But go ahead, bring it out, King.
This is the book.
And y'all can go over there, man, to I know Yehudah's channel. He just posted a Hebrew elevation. Salute to them. Salute to the brothers of Battle Axe. And salute, for the brothers having patience and long suffering with each other to have the dialogue and not get out of character, and brothers start getting into the ad hominems and so forth. But sparks do fly. Iron sharpen iron, and when that happens, sparks fly. It doesn't just it's not smooth surfaces, and it's just coming out in both of them. No, sparks will fly. So it did get a little fiery, but not much, man. It was brothers were brothers was in the spirit and kind of dealt with each other decently in order. But things get a little fiery and you want to make certain points. But if y'all wanted to watch that, you can go to Hebrew Elevation. You can go to Battle Axe. This is probably their last Who Wants Smoke. I don't know which Who Wants Smoke Sunday Q&A this was. But I do know this came on Hebrew Elevation's channel earlier today. And it's way more stuff. It's way more things that ended up happening. And just for time purposes, we already at 30 minutes. But there was a couple of other points that I wanted to talk about. Maybe I'll talk about it another time. Or y'all just y'all go watch the video and y'all leave y'all comments over there. And if you got questions for Yehudah, go over there, send them some of your questions. Send them some of your disagreements. and vice versa with the brothers from Battle Axis. And I'm sure they'll address it, and try to answer those things to the best of their ability. And likewise here, you can send it here also. But it was definitely a few other things that I seen that were very that were problematic. One issue too with the Amalekites, he brought out the Amalekites being mentioned in Genesis chapter 14 before Esau was born. So how could he be an Amalekite? And that was my first time, noticing that. He caught me with that. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And but I think it's maybe an issue with the how the text was comprised, and this writer coming in later. This thing being written much later, and then they're writing in certain things like, or those places like the Amalekites, writing that in. You also got the Ethiopians mentioned in Genesis 2. You also have places being mentioned like Samaria or so and so, and it's still named that to this very day, to show you that these things were mentioned much, this was written later than it was inside of the text. So it's not, I feel like that might have been some kind of where they just wrote the Amalekites there, even though they didn't exist, but it's still mentioning that particular area. Because we don't have anywhere else where we're getting those people being mentioned. Not that you have to have that, because I know it was also brought out about, how, the Horites were in that land, and where giants were in that land prior to Edom. And we don't really have, genealogy for how they got there and how, who their progenitor was. We don't have that for every single nation. But I think that's the case with that people came much later writing this, and were talking about that area and said Amalekites, all right, to describe that area, even though the Amalekites didn't really exist at that moment. A lot of us think that this text was written like a documentary, and we're watching it, and as these things are playing out, everybody's writing it down. But these things were written down, hundreds, thousands of years after the fact. And some of these places that they're naming at that particular point in the history, that wasn't the name of that place, or those people didn't exist, but they existed prior. And, that's how they're writing it in there. But I still feel that the Amalekites in Genesis 14 are still those Amalekites in Genesis 36. He did, besides that, besides that, I didn't, I think everything else he was saying that was just problematic to understanding that Esau's the white man from the perspective of one West Israelism. There's also a narrative of it happening later on, and maybe they're merging later on with other nations after 70 AD, after that kind of situation, and that they may have merged into that. But during that time, it's kind of hard. I'm gonna be one. It's kind of hard to establish that these people are Edomites, that white people are Edomites, when you have people fighting Edomites. We have the read First Maccabees chapter 5. And we know what the Maccabees, we fighting against the Greeks. Then chapter 8 in First Maccabees, we made an alliance with the Romans. But in chapter 5, it's in two places we are fighting the Edomites. So how we saying the Greeks are the Edomites and the Romans are the Edomites, and we also fighting Idumeans and they Edomites, and we just making everybody, and then we was reading that it also made there was a spiritual connection that was brought on later, where Christians were calling Jews Edomites, and Jews were calling Christian Rome Edomites. And we've taken all of these narratives and built a doctrine, and that's why I'm trying to give you the puzzles, give you the pieces to the puzzle, so you can start unraveling these things and come to your own conclusion. You know, and so salute to both parties though. Like I said, it's definitely was definitely a good dialogue, a healthy dialogue, and just evaluate if you had a problem with something, go evaluate it and take it to other brothers and see if they got answers. See if they have answers for these things. All right. Pray this thing was edifying. Y'all be blessed. Shalom.